Welcome back to another automation breakdown where we break down automated solutions for your business needs. I'm your host, Chris. Oh, I have been waiting to make this one. Today, we will be taking multiple SharePoint lists and funneling it all into one Power App. Specifically, we will be making a promotion nomination app. So if you need to get promoted, have your manager like and subscribe. If you watch this video, our HR system sends us a daily email with an Excel sheet of our active employee roster. Our automation took that Excel sheet and saved the file. Now, if you watched this video, our next automation took the contents within that Excel file to update a SharePoint list. I applied that same technique, like I said, to our active employee roster, and then to our active position report, our discipline report, our historical performance scores, and then finally the entire promotion nomination form. If you want to skip ahead to just the Power App build, go to this timestamp now. If not, let's check out each of these sheets. Just a standard active employee roster. We have all of the active employees, and when they're terminated, they're deleted off of this list. When they're new hires, they're added to this list. This would then be our discipline report, and all of these naughty employees received, let's say, a final written warning, a verbal warning, our historical performance scores. So in this case, Aaron received an exceeds in 2023. However, in 2024, he received a meets, and then 2025, he received an exceeds. This would then be our active position report. So each department only has a finite amount of jobs in their inventory. In the left would be the position that is currently active, and on the right would be the department that it is active within. And finally, our promotion nomination form that will house all of this data. So essentially, that information we just went through will start to funnel into this form. We have your basic info, like your title column, which will be your employee ID, associate name, years in current position, date of hire. And this less than 1 year explanation, essentially, if you've been in the position less than 1 year, you need to have strong backing in order to be promoted. Other items in here, like this active discipline, which is a yes, no column type. Do they have an active discipline on file? Yes or no? And if they have an active discipline on file, you better have strong justification why they should be promoted. Our performance year, which would be the year that the performance evaluation took place, and then the score you received within that year. Any performance comments that you may have. And if you had any low score, just like before, this is another yes, no column type. Did you have low scores that year? Yes or no? And the last column is the overall contributions, where we will let our managers just tell us how great we are.
We're not worthy! We're not worthy!
Let's hop on over to Power Apps and start building this. Create from blank a blank canvas app. Now you could have a responsive app, a tablet size, or a phone size. This will depend on you and what you want. For me personally, I'm going to choose the tablet size. Once we arrive in this blank app, what I'm going to do is go over to settings, give this app a name, promotion nomination app, and let's go over to updates and turn on modern control and themes. Then go ahead and smash that close button like you are going to smash the like button. Up next, let's go ahead and add our data off to the left here. Go over to data, add data. We're going to connect it over to our SharePoint list. And the same lists that we went over, the active employee roster, active position list, discipline report, performance scores, and promotion nomination form, we will connect all 5 of these to our app. Now we're starting off with a blank app right here. Let's go over to new screen. I personally like the sidebar. And now coming over to tree view, we have screen 1 and screen 2. I'm going to go ahead and delete out screen 1. We don't need this one anymore. And let's go ahead and retitle screen 2. This will be our home screen. And to this left pane here, this will house our employee roster. Over to the right here, this main container will house our form. This screen is good, but it can be better. Inside of this sidebar container, I'm going to add in another container. We'll add in horizontal container, come over to the right, and turn off flexible height. Now we will adjust the height of this new container to 50. Clicking back on the side container, I'm going to add in another vertical container this time. This bottom container will be our employee roster, and then we will add some functionality to this top container. Off to the right here, I'm going to do the same thing. This time I'm going to add in a horizontal container, turn off flexible height, and then I will adjust the height property to 50. Clicking back on the main container, I will add in a vertical container this time. And then clicking back on the main container, we will add in a bottom horizontal container, turn off flexible height, and then adjust the height property to 50. Inside of this container within the side container, I'm going to add in a vertical gallery. This will house our employee roster. And to do that, I'm going to add in our active employee roster to this gallery. Inside of the larger container on the main container, I'm going to add in our form. This will be our promotion nomination form, which we will, by the end result, submit to our manager. Actually, I take that back. You're not submitting it to your manager is submitting it for you. Now, if you've worked with Power Apps before, you know that when you add a form into your app, you can keep scrolling and scrolling. So I'm going to break up this form into multiple screens to give our users some peace of mind. With this complete, let's add in a new screen and go to header and footer. I personally like this one as well. We are going to rename this screen to discipline page, add in a new screen here, header and footer again, retitle this to performance page, come back over to new screen, header and footer, and then let's go over to adding one more screen, the header and footer one more time, and this will be our final comments page, which I will rename the screen to final comments page. So now as our form continues to move from page to page, what I'm going to do is add in this bottom container, a button, add in from our modern controls, this progress bar, and then I'm going to add in one more button. The button on the left here, we will rename the text property to cancel. And the button on the right, we will rename this over to next. This next button needs to take us over to our discipline page. So with this clicked, I will go over to the onSelect property and we will navigate over to our discipline page. And so when the user does click on next, great, now we are in our discipline page. When the user arrives here, I'm going to add in a form connected to our promotion nomination form. And in this footer container, I will add in, just like before, a button, progress bar, and one more button. The button on the left here, we will rename the text property to back and the right button over to next. The back button, we will add in our onSelect function to navigating back to that home screen. For the next button, we will also change the onSelect over to navigate to our performance page. As I click back, we're now on the home screen. Click on next, discipline page, click on next. We are in our performance page. I think you get the idea. I'm going to fast forward as I add in our forms and our buttons. Now within the final comments page, this button here is not next, but this will be our submit button. And we will hold off on the onSelect for this towards the end of the video.
The suspense is terrible. He's gonna go this time. I hope it'll last.
Adding in our final form here, our promotion nomination form. Now as we navigate through this, back we're on our performance page, go back, we're on our discipline page, back, and we are back on our home page. What I want to do is when I click on any one of these employees within our gallery, I want this information to start transferring into our form. So while I'm clicked on this gallery, I'm going to go to the onSelect property, and we are going to set our variable var employee info to this item. As I click on Audrey Wood, double click on the employee info, we can see our variable now captures Audrey Wood's information. And same thing if I were to click on Victoria, double click on the var employee info, you can see Victoria's info populated within this variable. We will begin to use this variable to our advantage. As an example, inside of this top container here, I'm going to add in a text property, adjust the width over to parent.width -16. And the reason for the -16 is the container it lives in has padding around it on both the left and the right side. So the 16 is 8 on this side, 8 on this side, and it fits perfectly within that container. Now I'm going to adjust the text to center aligned, And let's go ahead and bold it. Now, inside of this text property, I have updated the text property to nomination form for var employee info dot full name. So again, as we click on Lily or Emily, our variable starts to update. Moving on to the form. Now, if you notice how we have multiple forms, we don't want to duplicate what our responses are between the forms. So I just need to separate out what is within this form versus the other forms. Now, what I'm going to do is go over to the fields, go over to the three dots and add a custom card. There are fields up here that we do not want our user to touch. And so I'm going to separate out their eye and I'm going to adjust the width of this to parent.width. Adjust the height of it to 50. I'm going to drop in the proposed position beneath this data card, and then the less than 1 year explanation I'll also drop beneath this. The contents up here, we don't want our leaders to touch. This is all standard information. However, they have action items that we are separating out with our eye below. In order to edit these cards, we need to come over to Advanced, click on Unlock to change properties, and now inside of this data card value, we can begin to add data. I'm going to adjust the value here to var employee info dot full name. The title will do the same thing and add in the value section, our var employee info dot, this will be title. Remember, this is our employee number. For the first level supervisor, we will add in var employee info dot manager. And for current position, var employee info dot position. Moving some of these around as well. Now, our date of hire, going to unlock this. What we're going to find is our selected dates. And this is where we will house our var employee info start date. Now, this years in current position, in order to add in contents from our dropdown, but do this dynamically, we are going to need to add in a formula into our default selected items. We are going to adjust this. Now, take a look. Our answers need to be inside of these square brackets. You can pause the video, but I added this formula in here of the year of today minus the year of the employee info start date is less than 1, then put in less than 1 year. That's because in our SharePoint list, years in current position is a choice column, and we have less than 1 year, 1 to 2 years, 2 to 3 years, and 3+ years. These answers need to be exact to what our PowerApps is displaying, to what our choice column has. And notice that they are in these square brackets. Now that we've added in some type of calculation here, what ends up happening is as we click on different associates, sometimes the calculation is incorrect. And so to correct that, inside of our gallery, when we did our on select, we selected our var employee info. I'm going to add to that reset form, and this will be form 1. So now as we click on new people, our form is reset every time. And final thing for the basic info, we need to lock these cells so that our user cannot change them. So while I'm clicked on the data card value here, I'm going to display mode, and we will adjust the display mode to just view. And of course, we will carry that over to all of the top 2 rows. Now let's work on the 2 action items our user needs to submit. Less than 1 year explanation, I'm going to adjust the width of this, parent.width, to take up the entire form. The height, we will adjust this to, let's say, 150. I'm going to unlock the data card. And now let's go ahead and add in a rich text editor into this form. Inside the tree view, let's go find our section that we're currently working on that's highlighted here. And data card value, which is this card right here, we'll start transferring the X, Y, and width properties into our rich text editor. X property, copy. Inside the rich text editor, find the X value and paste. The data card value, we'll find the Y property, copy, rich text editor, paste, data card value, width property, copy this, rich text editor, and paste. Now the data card value 5, we have no use for anymore, so I will hit the delete key, and we will start to see some errors. Let's go ahead and fix those. This rich text editor, I'm going to snag the title of it. Come over to the first error. This is asking the y value, and so we will adjust the rich text editor.y plus the rich text editor 1.height. The second error is inside of this data card, the update is the value that it's actually updating to the SharePoint list. And so we want the rich text editor 1 dot and all of the different properties of the rich text editor show up. In this case, we want the HTML text. And finally, for this rich text editor, let's go ahead and take away the defaults here and delete.
Bye, Felicia.
With that done, let's work on the proposed position. To do this, we will add in a drop down. Coming back over to the tree view, let's go ahead and find this proposed position card. The data card value, I'm going to start transferring over the X, Y, and width properties. And we no longer have use for this data card value anymore. Let's go ahead and delete, and we get those errors again. Before we get to these errors, inside of our dropdown, let's add in what the items are. This is going to be from our active position report. So inside the items property, I'm going to add in active position reports. In the fields, I will edit this to where our position will be first, and this will be the exact dropdown that will display. And just like this, we have all of our positions displaying. However, this is our engineering department. Why do we need to confuse our user with all of these job titles that are, well, non-engineering? Still on the items property, what we can do is add in a filter. And we are going to filter, comma, the departments is equal to var employee info dot departments. And as we attempt our new dropdown, you can see just our engineering titles appear. Okay, now let's go ahead and clean up these errors. Copy the dropdown canvas 1, edit info, paste in our title to the Y and height properties, and then our final error here is the updates, which we will drop down canvas 1, paste that there, dot, and this will be selected, dot, and position. So whichever option we choose, only the position will be transferred to our final SharePoint list. What we want to do is also control what our users are able to do. So in this case, they haven't picked out a proposed position. However, the button is still active. So let's go ahead and adjust some of those properties so our Power Apps is way more accurate. On this less than 1 year explanation, we'll come over to the advanced properties and click on required. Now, we only want this required if, like in this case, it's less than 1 year. I'm going to pick up the title of the data card value 4, click back on required, and say data card value 4 dot selected dot value is equal to less than 1 year. And now it is required. What I'm also going to do is take the same logic here and also go into our visible property and paste that here. What ends up happening is this section will both be required and be visible when right here is less than 1 year. However, as we click on somewhere else, it is invisible. Much the same for our proposed position. Let's go over to the required field. We don't need anything fancy with this. We just need to call it true. Inside of this next button, we will go over to the display mode and we will say if form1 dot valid, then display mode is editable. And if not, then display mode is disabled. So you can see we both need to do our less than 1 year explanation and proposed position. So I'll click play. And so as I choose, let's say HR business partner to let's say HR manager. And as we start to type in here, now the next button turns on. And one more thing before we move on to editing our discipline page, we need to add one more thing for multiple forms to be submitted all at once. How we edited the onSelect property of this gallery, we will do the same thing and we are going to set our var promotion data to the defaults of the promotion nomination form. Now this var promotion data, we are going to throw inside of the items property of this form. Perfect. Now let's move on to our next topic, the discipline page. Now, the easy thing with this form control is I'm going to start deleting out all of these because, well, we only need two different items. If I come over to fields, I'm going to add field, and this will be our if active discipline provides strong evidence, and then are there any active disciplines at all on file? And add. The question becomes, how do we determine if the selected associate has a discipline on file? Just as an example, I'm going to add in a text box up here. And what I'm going to do is do a count rows. We're going to filter this list now. I'm going to count rows. We're going to filter our discipline report where the var employee info dot title is equal to, what ends up happening is you receive this delegation warning, meaning that Power Apps can only see down so many rows and it's not capturing all the data. What I've done as I start to expand this, I will do with, and we're going to do this with formula, enter in our curly brackets, and I'm going to enter the name of this with count disciplines, colon, and now we can enter in that filter right here. Filter discipline report, comma, employee ID is equal to var employee info dot title, which is the employee ID, and the curly brackets, comma, and now when we do count rows and the parentheses, Power Apps doesn't give us that delegation warning anymore. I'm loading in someone who I know has a discipline on file. We come over to this page. Now we can see this one. So what I'm going to do is copy this entire function right here. Now inside of this active discipline, we will unlock to change properties. And if it's checked, how do we determine if it's checked? Well, we'll add in that with is greater than or equal to 1. In this case, it's yes. So now we are flagging this file with an active discipline. To make this a lot easier, I'm going to now take the visible property, turn it to false. The answer will still be submitted. It's just invisible in the background. And for this title card, I want it to span this entire screen. So I'm going to adjust the height of it to parent.height and the width of it to parent.width. Kind of like before, we're going to add in our rich text editor. Come over to our tree view. Let's find it. Data card value. And we are going to start copying the X, Y, and width properties into this new rich text editor. The height of this, let's just do hard coding 450. Now I'm going to adjust this title right here, and we will say the employee has, and our with function, count rows, disciplines on file. So as you can see here, the employee has one discipline on file. I'm also going to, on the rich text editor, I'm going to change the defaults and use my HTML knowledge and use my HTML to write this in, which will now look like this. Because the employee has a discipline on file, provide evidence for this promotion. Okay, what ends up happening if the employee doesn't have any disciplines on file? Well, the user should be able to skip this screen altogether. So just like we did for that true false, I'm going to copy this with function. I'm going to go back to our home page, and inside of this next on select, we're going to adjust it. If this with function is greater than or equal to 1, comma, go to the discipline page, and if not, we will navigate over to the performance page. Zoe, in this case, does have a discipline on file. When we click next, we go right over to the discipline page. And if we click on Avery, let's go ahead and click on a title, click next, and now we're on the performance page. And before we move on to the historical performance page, clicking on Form 3, let's go ahead and adjust our items property to our var promotion data, and we'll toggle this default mode and have it be new. Moving on to the performance page. Just like before, we are going to delete out all of this unnecessary items in the form. And with a blank form, let's add in some fields here. Add field. All of these items are relating to performance. And don't forget about this has low scores, this yes, no column. I'm going to add all of this into this new form. I'm going to move some of these items around so we have performance year -1, performance score -1, and performance year -1, performance score -2, performance year -2, -3 for score, -3 for year. We've got our whole comments section, and then this one we will work on last. As we unlock this card, let's add in the value, but this time we're going to look up the value from the performance scores, and we're going to use our var employee info dot title is equal to our employee ID. And then what do we want to display in here? Well, we want to display that performance score. And if you remember back on our performance score sheet, we actually have multiple years that we need to accommodate for. So how are we going to control which year we are actually picking up? So now I've added in the year of today -1, putting that in text form, and then we'll find the review year. Now we've isolated this to 2025, so I'm going to readjust this over to the actual performance score. And in this case, this person got an exceeds. I'm going to copy this, paste this, but now I'm going to adjust this to -2, and we'll adjust that to -3. Much the same here. We are going to copy in what we got here, but this time instead of snagging the performance score, we are going to snag in the review year. Great, so now let's go ahead and clean this up. I'm going to turn off the visible properties on some of these ones here, the performance years specifically. They are a little unnecessary for what we need, but we still need those answers in the background. Now let's focus in on has low scores. So I'm going to unlock this property, and what we're going to do is start to reference these ones right here and say if it says does not meet, say true. There we go. It's now referencing all of these answers. So now we can take this, turn it invisible, and for our performance comments, I'm going to adjust the width to parent.width, adjust the height to parent.height minus these, the height of these are 70, and let's go ahead and add in our rich text editor. You know the drill. We are going to find this in the tree map, and I'm going to start transferring over the X, Y, and width properties. Then we're going to hard code in the height, call it 350, delete out the data card value, and let's make sure it is referencing the rich text editor 3 and the update rich text editor 3.html text. This rich text editor, let's change the defaults. There you go. On the form, let's go ahead and adjust the item to reference our var promotion data, and we will set the default mode to new. And finally, let's work on this back button. Remember, we don't want to navigate over to our discipline page if we don't have to. And so very similarly to before, we'll use that with function is greater than or equal to 1. We'll go to the discipline page, or if not, we'll go home. Let's move on to our final page, which will be the final comments page. Of course, let's adjust the form to only the contents that we need. The only two fields that we will need on this form will be the overall comments, or I'm sorry, overall contributions, and then we will also add in, well, a signature. Who was it submitted by? Let's go ahead and add those. And the submitted by is a little easier to work with. I'm going to unlock this, change the value. We use the user in parentheses dot, and you can choose either email, full name. In this case, I'm going to use my email, and we'll turn this one invisible. I think this one's pretty standard to what we've done so far. So I'm going to unlock this. We will adjust the height to parent.height, adjust the width over to parent.width. Let's go ahead and add another and final one, rich text editor. Go over to the tree map and let's start transferring over the X, Y, and width properties. Let's adjust the height. We'll hard code this one. I think 475 worked for me. Delete out the data card value. Delete there. Let's snag the title of this is Rich Text Editor 4. Boom and boom. And finally, we'll adjust the update to Rich Text Editor 4.html text. On this Rich Text Editor, I'll change the defaults. Maybe something clean like this. Again, if you are new to HTML, don't know it, you can always use Copilot, ChatGPT. We will also adjust the form, the item property in the form to var promotion data. The default mode, we will make sure it's toggled to new. Now, the moment you've all been waiting for, how do we submit multiple forms? And we'll use this one submit button to submit all of it at once. With the onSelect property, I'm going to use our patch function, and we'll go over to our promotion nomination form, comma, and that var promotion data that we've been updating this whole time, comma. We'll reference our first form in our home screen, and we'll do dot updates, comma, our next form, form 3 dot updates, comma, form 4 dot, dot updates, and comma, form 5 dot updates, end parentheses. In one swoop, this formula will submit all 4 of these forms at once. I'm going to clean this up and I'm going to add on, we will notify our user. The nomination has been submitted for our var employee info.full name, semicolon. We will then set our var employee info. We'll do this to blank. And then finally, after all of that is done, we will navigate back to our home screen. Let's go ahead and give this a try. We've got Zoe clicked on here. She's currently the HR manager. We will submit her for HR director. Our next button turns on. Next, the employee has one discipline on file. So we'll just add in some text here. Click on next. Oh, the performance scores exceeds, and 3 years ago, she got a meets. So add in maybe some comments here. Click on next. Overall contributions, maybe give some details here as I skip some things. And as we click submit, the nomination has been submitted for Zoe Sanchez. And back on this promotion nomination form SharePoint list, I'm going to refresh the page. And there we go. We see it was submitted by me, Zoe Sanchez, 3+ years. We didn't need an explanation because, well, she's been here 3+ years with her date of hire. And all of those explanations that I made that were so beautiful, the performance comments, overall contributions, even the active discipline has the check mark. So the functionality works out. The remaining part of this video, I will do aesthetics on this app, well, to make it pretty. Clicking on this header container up here, I'm going to remove the padding that we have, and then I'm going to enter in, under layout, you have this header. That's starting to look a heck of a lot better.
You're goddamn right.
So inside of this top part here, I'm going to add in a text input. This is where I want our user to, well, search for our employees. We'll change the placeholder text to search employee. I'm going to add in a button in here, and then I will also adjust the width of it since it's kind of bleeding over. Take away the text in here. On the icon, I'm going to add in this function, which is if the text input one.text is blank, we'll do the search image, and if not, do the dismiss image. So as I click play and I start typing in here, it now turns to an X. And the onSelect property of this, I will add in reset text input 1. So as I click play, it clears out. I can type in some things, boom, it clears out. The items property within this gallery, we are going to now adjust to whatever the user types in this search box, and it will now be filter this active employee roster if what they type in that text box starts with inside the first name column equals the text input column, or this is PowerApp's version of or, starts with in the last name column, whatever the user types in for the text input. Clicking on play, if I type on Woods, you'll see that Audrey Woods displays. Great, now it all functions out. I'll clear that out. We'll scroll down, Jason James. Great. Scroll down a ways, I'll find, let's say, Sophia Davis. Great. Click X. It all functions perfectly. This cancel button right here, let's go ahead and change the onSelect property, and we're going to now set our var employee info back to blank. So this will truly clear it out as I click cancel. Maybe click on Lily down here, click cancel. It keeps clearing out the form. Now let's go ahead and adjust our onSelect and add in, we've reset form 1. Don't forget we have multiple forms in here, so I'm going to make sure to reset all of the forms as the user clicks on a new name. Perfect. Now our on select is, well, let's format it, resets everything as we choose a new name. We select or we set the var employee info to this item, and then we are setting that var promotion data to get all of our forms on the same page when the final submit happens. What I'll end up doing too is on this text property up here, I'm going to add in the visible property. This is the opposite. So is blank, the var employee info is blank, and do the opposite of it. So as I click on Audrey Wood, you'll see, great, it's now visible. As I cancel out, the text box becomes invisible. I'm actually going to do the same thing with the form as well. We'll change the visible property to the opposite of var employee info is blank. So let's click on Audrey Wood. It shows up, cancel, it blanks out. On the container itself, I will add in a text box here. I will adjust it to remain in the center of the page. And the text box itself, I will censor this a little bit more. Please choose an employee. We'll expand the width of this parent.width, bold it, maybe give a text size of 25 and adjust the height. And we'll do one more thing here is change the visible property to is blank var employee info. So as I click on play, I'm going to choose on any one of these employees, cancel out, please choose an employee, click on this, great. Now let's focus in on the progress bar down here. I'm going to adjust the width property, and we're doing parent.width times the 8 pixels times 4. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. Canvas button dot width, the button canvas 1 dot width, and the button canvas 2 dot width. And the container here, I'm just going to add in a gap of 8, make the math all math, and now it looks clean. Finally, adjust the value. The value of this is if the var employee info is blank, we'll do 1. If not, 25%. And so as I click play, cancel, it turns to 1. If not, to 25. We will add in coordinator, click on this discipline page here. Let's go ahead and on the header container, we will take away the padding. Let's go ahead and add in our header. For the footer container that's down here, let's go ahead and add a gap of 8, and let's adjust the width of the progress bar. And the value of 50 by default just happens to work out. Moving on to the performance page. On the header container, let's get rid of our padding and let's go ahead and add in the header. For this footer container, let's go ahead and add the gap of 8. We will go ahead and adjust the width of the progress bar. Finally, the value of this progress bar, let's go ahead and adjust this. We'll do to 75. Now, what I want to do is also call out when these scores say below. Obviously, I don't care about the exceeds, but for the fill property, let's go ahead and find fill. I'm going to insert this function. If the self.value is equal to below, color it red. All right, now things stand out a lot more. The below scores are really called out now. And finally, cosmetics on this page here. Let's go ahead and adjust the header container. We will take away the padding. Let's go ahead and add in our header up top here. The footer container, let's go and give a gap of 8 and adjust the width of the progress bar and give the value of the progress bar, let's say 99. They're almost there. See, this to me looks and feels like a real form here. Great, now you've selected Audrey, admin specialist to senior admin specialist. It skips over the discipline since she doesn't have a discipline. However, it does call out that she has a below score, and we are able to add in some comments, click on next, maybe add in some more comments of how great of an employee she is, and submit. Obviously, there's a lot more that we can tweak on this app. If you've made Power Apps before, you know you can go down the rabbit hole. I'm thinking of the next video of doing an approval so that when the manager does submit it, it either goes to the second level leader, maybe it goes to HR or the vice presidents, and that approval process will be submitted through an email. Again, I'm thinking about that as my next video, but let me know in the comments what you think for my next video, or let me know what you think about, well, this video. If you like what you saw, go ahead and give me that thumbs up, and I will see you in the next video.